Welcome back, and in today's video we are going to discuss about elements. This presentation gives basic information about elements, metals, non-metals and metalloids. Let's start. Starting with elements. An element is a pure substance that cannot be broken down by any physical or chemical means into simpler substances. Well, this means that an element is the most simple substance you can find. Then an element is made up of same kind of atoms. Elements are classified into metals, non-metals and metalloids. Elements are represented by their symbols. Moving on, we will see the periodic table. Well, these are all the elements that we have found out in our world. Well, you can see that red represents metals, the yellow represents metalloids, and blue represents non-metals. As you can see, metals dominate the periodic table, and non-metals are second to be found in number. Third, we have metalloids, which separates metals and non-metals. And non-metals tend to stay in the left side of the periodic table. There is an exception, that is hydrogen. Now, first we'll talk about properties of metals. Properties. Well, the first property is they shine. Well, we don't say shine, we say luster. And because we are talking about metals, metallic luster. So, example gold. And metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Example iron. Well, we do have exception, which is tungsten, which is a bad conductor of heat and electricity. Then they are malleable. What is the meaning of malleable? They can be pressed into sheets like aluminum foil, gold foil, silver foil. Then they are ductile, means they can be formed into wires like copper wire, which we use to transmit electricity. Then they mostly are solids at room temperature. Well, there is an exception, that is mercury, which is liquid at room temperature. And they have high melting point. And they are really hard to break. Moving on, we have non-metals. Well, properties of non-metals are they are mostly gas. Example oxygen. Well, there are even solid non-metals. And those who are solid like carbon and sulfur, they are brittle. Now, brittle means very easy to break. And they are poor conductors, or we call them insulators. Example diamond. Then they are dull surfaced. Well, there is an exception, diamond. Then they have low melting point. Again, we have an exception, that is diamond. So they are basically opposite of metals. Then we have metalloids. Well, they share the properties of metals and non-metals. They are in the between. They are semiconductors of electricity. Example silicon, which is there in all electrical devices. Then they have high melting points, such as silicon again. Then they are solids at room temperature. This was a very little introduction to elements and into chemistry. I have described the properties of metals, non-metals and metalloids. If you have enjoyed the video, please do considering like, share and subscribe because it took a lot of effort to make this video. Meet you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.